Welcome to BK Technologies RES. This lesson focuses on more advanced configuration for the radio and P25 trunking operation. This training assumes you've already completed. For the purpose of this course, I will use multi-channel view. This setting can be found under View, Channel View Selection, Multi-Channel View. This is a cosmetic setting and does not affect how the radio is programmed. Most traffic calls on a trunked radio network are one subscriber to many subscribers. A unit-to-unit call is a call set up in the network for one subscriber radio to talk to another specific subscriber radio. To configure unit calls, begin by clicking on the System tab and selecting the trunking system you wish to configure. Continue by clicking on the Unit Call button. The P25 trunking unit calls window will now open. Begin by setting usage. It can be set to response only, list only, or unlimited. If your radio has a limited keypad or you want to restrict radio users, select list only. The alias ID list to the left then needs to be completed. Next, select the appropriate type of call. The P25 standard outlines two methods of unit-to-unit call, with availability check and without availability check. If there is any question about which method your system uses, contact your system administrator. Finally, you might need to set the encryption settings. It can be set to either the talk group settings that are currently being used or strapped to clear or secure. If strapped to secure, you'll need to also assign a key. Once you've configured the system, you'll need to add a button or menu, Unit Call. The subscriber radio can be programmed to send emergency information to the system and other trunk subscriber units on its talk group. The information most commonly comes in two parts. First, an emergency alarm, a priority message to the system designating that radio's unit ID is in an emergency situation. Lastly, the radio can change to specific talk groups if the emergency button is pressed. This is also known as emergency revert. If this is desired, it's recommended to create the majority of the code plug first. Scanning in a trunked environment works differently than a conventional system. Most trunking systems are multiple site systems. In our example here, Site 1 has radios only on the blue talk. Now that we understand how scanning in a trunked environment works, let's configure our radio to scan. This is easiest to do once the entire code plug is built. Begin by clicking the System tab and selecting the trunking system you wish to configure. Then click on the Scan List button. Once the P25 trunking scan list window opens, begin by clicking Add Scan List. Next, click Add Row to add channels to the list. Using the drop-down list, select the zone and channels you wish to be on the scan list. Some of the scanning options are priority type, talkback type, and scan hold time. With these options, you can control which channels are priority, whether you can talk back on the talk group of the scanned call or your original selected channel, or how long the radio dwells on a scan. Once the scan list is built, it needs to be assigned to the channels. To do this, go to the Zone tab and select the zone and channels that is part of the scan list. Scroll to the right if necessary and select the drop-down under Scan List. Select the scan list that is appropriate. If the radio only has one scan list, it's a good idea to assign all trunking talk groups to that scan list, even if they're not a part of it. An easy and quick way to do this is to select the parameter, then right-click the parameter, go to Copy, and select to All. Don't forget to assign a button or menu item to turn on scanning. You may also want to add priority scan list edit to the menu so that users may change their scan list to. Upon request, there are more advanced tools for troubleshooting why a trunked radio is not behaving as desired. Two main tools are AirRaid, a tool that parses the received control channel data. This is useful for understanding what the system is telling the radio, and CDAT, a tool that displays the radio's adjacent site table. This is useful for understanding how the radio sees other sites on the system and how it roams. This concludes RES-310 Advanced Trunking Programming. I encourage you to use the workbook